What's up, everyone? It just seems like I just said this, and fortunately, we got to say it again. Some days the show isn't fun. It's not fun to do. This is, of course, pertaining to the fire at the home of Denny Hamlin's parents, Dennis and Mary Lou. Uh, it has been confirmed there was one fatality in the fire, and the other occupant is in life-threatening situation right now. At this time, it's not been announced who was in the home. All speculation, obviously, is leading to it. It is the parents of Denny Hamlin, again, Dennis and Mary Lou. My heart goes out to everybody involved in this. Whatever black clouds over this NASCAR community, just please go away. It's too much for so many right now. The fire took place yesterday on Black Snake Road in Stanley. Reportedly started about 6 p.m., 6:19. The call come in to fire and rescue. Where they arrived, both occupants were outside of the home at that time. And some local news coverage right here. Take a listen to this.
And possibly with entrapment. As soon as units arrived, we noticed the house was probably 45% involved. All occupants were out of the house at that point. The two occupants were transported to the hospital by gyms. I don't know their condition. It took roughly 2 hours to bring the fire under control due to the lack of water.
So both occupants were taken to the hospital at that time. There's a lot of speculation, a lot of things out there you can read on different platforms, different threads of different speculations right now. Again, nothing's been named at the time of recording this anyway. But the fire took over 2 hours to extinguish. Part of this was from running out of water at the location of the home. Basically, by accounts that I can see, the nearest fire hydrant was about 2 miles away. And firefighters had to do everything that they could to save everything that they could and try to save the home, which obviously the home was very badly burnt. Just a horrendous fire. They were able to save some vehicles and race and memorabilia that were in the garage of the home. But again, this is just a very tragic situation. And I want to say this right now. I've seen some comments out there from people trying to make light of this situation. I've seen comments of people say, well, I hope they got Denny's Cup Championship trophy out of there. People that are being assholes. And I'm sorry. If you make a comment like that, you're an asshole. And you need to be called one. I also seen people who say this is with the timing linking NASCAR with responsibility to something like this. I'm going to go over a few other things right here today. We're going to talk about the Biffle incident shortly. I also want to talk about some other plane incidents that happened, and also another home fire to a NASCAR family, because I want to go back to the comments about NASCAR with this right here. So I'm going to start out with this, and this was in March of 2000. This was Ernie Irvin, who had his home in Mooresville. Beautiful home. I had actually been to Ernie's home, and beautiful ranch. Went up there to see him at the ranch with his horses, and beautiful place. He was on vacation in the Bahamas, and they had an electrical problem. Started the fire in the home. Basically, the roof completely burnt and collapsed throughout the house. And through that process, it destroyed everything in the home. And this included a trophy room that Ernie had just constructed. Just had finished constructing on this, had all of his racing memorabilia, helmets, fire suits, trophies, everything else. 9 different fire departments arrived on scene to extinguish the fire. And this was right after Ernie announced his retirement from NASCAR. So, a very emotional time for him, having to announce his retirement after all the incidents he went through to cause him to have to retire and then lose his home. But in July of that year at Daytona, NASCAR surprised him by presenting him with replica trophies of all the trophies that he lost. A very kind and great gesture by NASCAR to do something like that when they obviously didn't have to. And so again, for anybody making comments about things that are negative. Just stop. It's not a time for anything like that. And interestingly, Ernie went on to rebuild the home, and it was later purchased by Joe Nemechek. Beautiful home. I mean, a beautiful home. Later on, Ricky Stenhouse bought the home, which he since sold it as well. But and a whole other story about squatters and things that moved in there when they were trying to sell it. But so yeah, NASCAR did a good thing, and we don't need no comments like that out there anywhere. Now I want to go over to the plane parts because obviously there's more stuff coming out about the Biffle crash. There's I included some audio from the plane in my episode, and there's more audio that's out there right now. I think Captain Steve has done some. I'm sure Dan Greider, who I did my episode around, has put some stuff out as well. And we're all still praying for everybody impacted by the Biffle tragedy because it affected a lot, including myself. And I got to talk about some other plane incidents, man, because that was my reason behind that one. Right, I don't want to see this ever happen again. I don't. I have a lot of friends who fly and racing in different aspects throughout the year, and I never want to see this happen again to anybody out there. So I want to go over some other things because this can happen to anyone. And I'm going to go to instance right here, August 2019, Dale Jr. This was in Tennessee. And I know a lot of people know these different things, but we're going to clarify this right here for anybody that doesn't. And this was during a landing. They had a hard landing. The plane ended up bouncing twice on the runway, which caused the landing gear to collapse. And throughout this, in the end, caused the plane to crash and catch fire. And luckily, they were able to all get out of the airplane, including the pilots and everything else. But it could have very easily been another tragic situation. And this would have been Dale Jr. and his whole family. So we're all so thankful that that didn't happen in this situation, and still just distraught over what happened to the Biffle family. But it shows this could happen in different situations. And again, we're going to get to more on these right here. But this follows after Dale Jr. was in a fire himself in 2004. He was driving a Corvette, practicing for the American Le Mans Series race at Sonoma. Car spun, collected the wall, busted the fuel line, and as you can see, engulfed the entire cockpit of that car. And this caused Dale Jr. to have second-degree burns on his face and his legs. And an interesting note to this right here was Dale was reportedly out of it for about 12 hours, and when he woke up, he wanted to thank the person who pulled him from the car. And they were able to show him through video that he got out under his own power. But Dale Jr. swore to this day that he felt the hands reach under his arms and pull him out of that car. So very good speculation of exactly who that was that saved Dale Jr. that day. And then we also got to go to a tragic one here. And this was April 1st, 1993. This was, of course, Alan Kulwicki. They were in a twin turboprop that crashed in Tennessee prior to the Bristol race that year. And this was a wreck, again, that caused a fire. The cockpit was consumed, center section, left wing. And tragically, it killed all four on board, including our NASCAR champion, Alan Kulwicki. And the interesting parts about this was NTSB determined it more or less to be pilot error. They released a report 1 year later in March of 1994. They stated that the plane experienced icing conditions before reaching the airport, and that the airplane just started reaching a rapid descent. Other reports of the plane spiraling down to the ground. And it was discovered that neither engine was working at the time of impact, but there was no evidence of any plane failure at the time. I guess things that would indicate that the planes just went out on their own. They determined there was evidence that the engine inlet anti-ice lights were active during the impact. And again, it was ruled that this was failure of the pilot to follow procedures pertaining to the use of the engine inlet anti-ice system. And another sad part about this was that just a few years prior to that, 1988, the engine manufacturers had issued a letter to any owner-operator of a plane that had these engines on there that were noting to them of instances where engines were flaming out during icing conditions, which was similar to what this one was, while descending to a lower altitude and into warmer air. So, again, a situation that we all wish would have had a different outcome, but where just situations happened, and we lost our Cup champion at that time. And then we also got to go to October 24th of 2004. This was a Beechcraft Super King that was owned by Hendrick Motorsports. And it's another very tragic family incident right here. And they were on board going to the Martinsville race. And the system that was pertaining to the weather right there was a low-level overcast system that was active throughout the entire area. And the plane was instructed to enter into a hold pattern at 4,000 feet, and this was because a plane was landing in front of them. And about the time that they were turning out to do this, air traffic control notified them that they were cleared to land. But unfortunately, they were too high at the time that they come into the runway, and they had a missed approach and flew over the runway. And 1 minute and 13 seconds later, the plane began to climb again. At 12:33, they notified air traffic control of what was taking place. And 9 seconds later, the airplane vanished from radar. And Civil Air Patrol discovered the airplane wreckage shortly after that on the summit of Bull Mountain. The plane basically had impacted the mountain and exploded on impact and blew it farther up the mountain, taking the lives on board. And this included the son of Rick Hendrick, which was Ricky Hendrick, also his brother John, who was president of Hendrick Motorsports, and his 2 daughters, as well as all the other innocent souls that were lost that day. So a very tragic situation that, again, involved an entire family in racing. And the ironic parts about this as well is that on October 31st of 2011, Gulfstream 150 was a plane that was owned by Jimmy Johnson, but on board were Rick and Linda Hendrick. And they were flying into Key West Airport in Key West, Florida. And the pilots had radioed in to notify air traffic control that they had no brakes upon landing. And the plane went down the runway, skidded across a 600-foot safety area and another 100-foot past that. The interesting part about this was that 600-foot safety area had just been placed there in May of that year. And by all accounts of everybody that determined everything on it, had that area had not been added there, this would have been a completely different outcome. So, again, another family situation that could have so much impacted racing had it been a different outcome. And thank God it wasn't. But in that case, Rick Hendrick sustained a broken collarbone, and I believe it was 4 broken ribs. And his wife, Linda, had some cuts and bruises. But thankfully, we're both able to walk away from that situation. So, again, that's why I did my last episode. It was not my speculation. I just wanted this out there because if any of this information can save somebody else's life, especially somebody who I know, or stop anything like this from happening in the racing community again, I want to see that. And, man, I don't want to see any, again, whatever black clouds over the NASCAR community, just please go away. Because there's enough heartbreak to go around. You know, I also lost Michael Odette there. Brad Keselowski breaking his leg. I mean, we need some good news, man. We need some good news. So everybody continue to pray for these families. I'm sure we'll be getting more news about the situations in the Hamlin home here. And just Godspeed to everybody. God bless everybody. And thank everybody for commenting on these episodes. Again, I had to step away for a few days, just spend it with family because, you know, if anything out of all these tragedies, it just teaches you, you never know when your last moment's there. And I just wanted to spend time with my family and make it memorable. So enjoy the journey, man. Live your life to its fullest. And I'll be praying for everybody. And Denny Hamlin, man, my heart's with you, bud. Everybody have a great day. And as always, we'll see you at the checkered flag.